Hey, people, if you look up ancient medicine, everywhere you go, they're going to try to feed you some crack. They'll tell you that the Ashu was a medical doctor who treated illness empirically, meaning case by case as he observed. And the Ashipu, they'll tell you, well, he was just a damn witch doctor. But they can't read the ancient writings. They don't have a clue what they're talking about. They don't even have the names right. And this is Ashu, meaning makes house calls. And if you look up medicine, they're going to tell you some more lies here at Wikipedia. Tell you it comes from this Latin medicina. And they'll tell you that means a remedy or a cure or the practice or art of medicine or healing. From the Latin, the art of healing. But this is where your word medicinal comes from right here. You know, NBNMT or D, medicine, medicine, and TEL, medicinal. And this is where your word ashu comes from right here. And it's the medicinal at as will, as will come, ashu, to make the house call as will come. And you see it in the Greek over here. According to this composition, this is the tisin part of medicine, and it's the sin dizin. And because this is the one you're not supposed to be creating, the holy of holies, and it's called the incense. And they'll go through all this and tell you how to make it. And said Yahweh to Moses, take to you sweet spices, stacit, and onyx, and galbanum, and these sweet spices and frankincense pure, equal amounts of each, and there shall be, and you shall make of these, that's the ashu, the as, the as it, and that's the base, for created in the Hebrew as. Same word as Moses, and you shall make. You see it here, right here, MOSE. And they'll say this is according to the art. But at the beginning of the Bible, this is the word they say is Moses. In this Hebrew word for the book of Genesis, Bereshit, they say is Genesis. And they say this is the book of Moses in the beginning, is the way they'll interpret this. MOSE, they'll say is Moses. But they'll never say it's Moses again in the Bible. They'll choose another word. And so what this says is this is the book of according to the art, to create according to the art, and to begin. And you shall make of these an incense, a compound according to the art of the perfumer, salted, pure, and holy. And you shall beat some of it very fine, and put some of it before the testimony in the tabernacle of meeting, where I will meet with you. And then they didn't want to interpret these couple words of most holy it shall be to you. But as for the incense which you shall make according to its composition, in medicinal, not you shall make any for yourselves, holy it shall be to you for Yahweh. A man who makes any like it to smell it, and he shall be cut off from his people. So if we look at this word here, it comes up 4 different ways. And it comes up 2 different ways in this chapter here. But, this is the medicine too. And Ezekiel was high. He wrote about some crazy stuff. And we'll look at it in Chronicles here. And they'll interpret this as so labored the workman, and was completed, perfected the work by them. And they restored the house of God to the medicine to its original condition, the medicine to. And so that's what I always said, was all the artwork on the wall in the churches, it was about all the secret medicine. The church was the hospital. And so its original condition and reinforced it. Ooh, so this is probably even some better stuff here. So God's telling him how to make it. And he tells him to make plenty and just beat a little bit of it, a little fine mist for me. because it's the holy of most holies. Make a little bit for me, but none for yourself and none of your people. So why would you make more? To tempt the people. Make a little bit for me and a bunch for them, but you're going to be cut off. So if you're going to do this, you're going to have to go to the woods. But this is the end of chapter 30. I told you 29 and 30 is talking about the dog. It's talking to the dog. And so, and you shall make of these was it at after? Or was it at after? What come of it? Was it after a truffum, a truffumos, a skillet of mushrooms, and after was it after it cooked it up, the truffum who's. And so it's the dog talk, and it's the truffum who's rough, the perfumer, the rough, and a rough me litter feeds. And so he's raising a whole pack of these truffle sniffing dogs. So this is an ancient Egyptian dog name, Ruffum a litter feeds. And so that's why at their ceremonies, that guy comes in there and he's wagging that perfume around, and that was the Ruffum, he was a perfumer, come in wagging his tail around. And, he's salted, and rough him in a litter, that's the pure and holy, and the litter feeds. But over here in Chronicles, this house of God to its original condition and reinforced it, that's why a mitzhu, the dealer, the medicine to who a mitzhu, who the one that's handing it out and reinforced it. And so this labor, the workman was completed. You could tell it's hiding something there. But this is the painter, is them laquidol, so paint. And a Vayashwazi, that's on the road, Vyos to goes, and goes wazi, part-time labor, seasonal labors. Is a Vayashwazium laquidol painter. The Arisalam lake, and perfected the work. And the painter is gone, and the Arisalam lake is a fountain out front, the Arisalam lake in Bidham. And the fountain was done. And why amid what vite, who's amongst what's been invited, and why homie, my people, two different hands, different, when you're amid a different, why amid 'em what vite, who invite, hail 'em all, the medicine, who amidst who. And so this stay restored, this is why home, different, and duat, that's the other world, the Egyptian other world, the duat, and the why do it vite. And so you can see that base word for labored in here, in vios, in goes, so the labor of motion gone. But where this word, gets its paint from is that lac right there. And you hear painters, talk about blue lake. And it's where you word lacquer. And they say there was one lived over there in the Middle East that became extinct. And it was probably the aerosol lacquer. And they had killed it because this is what they make dyes. Or lake pigment. You hear painters talking about blue lake. And it just means, from organic. And that's just because they don't want to tell you food contains bugs, but they grind them bugs up with aluminum powder and make red dye number 4. Lacquer, the old Chinese black lacquer. That stuff's so hard. Used to paint cars with it. And so, auricillum lac, seal, that's sealing, and auricil. And malak, that's what they say is the angels, and perfected the work. And so that's an ancient legal term, for the one telling the story, is the angel, the messenger. And it means, them lack. The ones who's painting the picture, they paint theirself as an angel. I didn't do nothing wrong. Him lack, the messenger, or the angel. And vios and gone was he, them lack with all, the paint with all. And Arasil, the angels bid 'em. And why amid what vite, and what's amongst what's vite. Hail 'em all medicine too, who amidst who. And so this homie here, this is different. Homo is the same, and homie is different. And so when you aerosol the lake, and bid 'em, and who a different of duet, inviting diversity. You put the fountain out front to invite the diversity, the birds and the bugs, and what hail 'em, and breathing nature, all the medicine too, who amidst who. So I can read this 10 times and see something different every time. And then when I go back and read it from the beginning, and I'll see something totally different in it. But from what I've been reading the rest of the Bible, it's talking about the sealing of the tomb, and vios and gone was he, them laquidal, the painters, and are a silum, a lace of, the lace of venom. You see this in all the tombs, the stars above. It was some pretty tough paint, lasted thousands of years. But the star of homie duat, the one that's different, is the other world, the duat, and it represents an asshole, the other star. That was the way to the underworld. Arsilum lace vitum, why a homie duat vite, hailum all a medicine too, who amidst who. So this would be the Halem god of Anubis, and he stuffed them full of medicine to send them on their way, and stuffed their ass full of spices. Via swazi em lacum with all, Arasilum lace vid, why homie do ot vite, Halem all medicine too, who amidst who. Who amidst who, who's going into the box. Alright, I'm going to cut this off here, and I'll go ahead and put this in that last Money Spells folder that I was making. And I'm going to try to get those other 5 lines all in one movie from the end of Exodus 30. Good day.